You know, I wasn't going to make a YouTube video out of this project or out of this job, because all I was going to do, I was just gonna switch out the fuel line quick disconnect here, along with that high pressure line, which is just to really snap it in, snap it out piece, which is this piece right here. Basically, all you do is push this button and it comes out. Put the other one back in. So there was no reason for me to show this. However, you can actually remove this without having to take this whole assembly out. But I decided to take it out, and I'm glad I did, because look at this is the fuel filter. Well, what's left of it. Here's the rest of it. So I took it out, and I'm glad I did, because now I got to go buy a whole new fuel pump that comes with the filter. Anyway, so now I'll go ahead and show you the process of putting that back in. But to take this out, see how it sits in an L angle, basically like this. You know, you can't put it in, obviously, in that position, but the way these work, this arm right here, it goes down. Once it goes down, then this will swing up, just like that. And the way you do it from inside the tank is you gotta stick something in the tank once you get this lifted up to push this down a bit. Once you push this down, this will swing up. That'll allow you to pivot this, and you can get it out. So if you can see how this arm works, it's a little lever. The idea is you want to bring it down, and it'll swing up for you. When you put it back in, you do the same thing, and then once you get it in there, it'll automatically it'll swing into place. It should snap right back up in place. Okay, so I need to go buy a fuel pump, and I have all the hose clamps, so I just need to go buy the fuel pump and replace all this. We'll stick it back in, and I'll show you how to do that process, or how I do the process. So all right. Okay, so the fuel pump assembly finally came in, and that's basically what it looks like. So there's the strainer. So that we got to replace all of this stuff right here. So we'll start taking all this apart right here. Need to take off these wires. Need to take off this clamp right here. I believe the proper name, they're called ear clamps. And I also need to take this one off right here. So let me get started on that. So I'll take this little float off, get it out of the way. One of the first things I need to do is I need to take this wire off, and I'm going to do it by removing that. I got to press in on that clamp right here. I don't know if you can see that little piece right there. Press that in, and it should raise up. Yeah, just like that. So if you notice, this screw, I believe there's 2 holes here. So when I go to put this back on, it needs to go back into this hole right here. Okay, let me get this clamp off of here. All right, there's a couple of ways to take this clamp off here. I typically cut them right here or right down the middle. Another way is to lift it up, lift this piece up right here. But I'm going to cut it right in here. Let me see if I can get this to spin a bit. Yeah. Should cut off pretty simple, pretty easy, but we'll see. Yeah, right there. Okay, see, just like that. I don't need to save this hole, so this hole's just coming off. That's trash. I need to save this one though, so I'm just gonna take it off from here. This one does need to be saved, so hopefully when I break this off, it doesn't. There we go. Okay, so now this right here, this tab needs to actually go down right here, but it's quite difficult to press this down, so this is trash right here. So I'm just going to cut it. I'm just going to cut it right here. I'm just going to cut it off, break them off, and slide it out of there. Let me see here. Okay, so theoretically that should have worked, but this thing is on there. Let me see here. Am I doing this right? I don't know. There we go. That's what I wanted to get off. Okay, this one should be simple plug and play. So let's see here. I'll slide this in here. You can see that it's snapped in now. Okay, so put this back on here. Okay, and I think, let me see here. This goes over here on this side. And it needs to thread into this first hole right here. Okay, so now we'll just slip the clamp in here. Put this in place. Okay, if you notice these ear clamps, with these type of pliers, you just crimp it. Okay, and there it is. That's what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so remember when I was describing it when I first took it off, this lever needs to come down and it rotates, and that's how you install it. Once you got it in the tank, I'll show you once I start putting it inside the tank. Once you get it in there, it'll just come back in place. Pretty simple device, but that's the way it's going to sit inside the tank, just like that. So anyway, next step is going to be putting it inside that tank. So that's pretty much it for the assembly portion of it. All right. Okay, here we are. We're ready to install the fuel pump assembly, the entire assembly in here, inside the tank here. But one of the first things I need to do first is I need to put this in place, in position first before I put that assembly in there. So this quick disconnect right here, this is the old one. I had already previously taken it apart, and but I just had it in there while I was waiting for the parts to come in. So this needs to come off, and I need to feed this through this to this hole right here, and then bring it out here and hold it in position until I get that fuel pump assembly in place. So that's one of the first things we need to do. Hopefully I can get it in there. And then I'll tighten it up after we're ready to. Here's the fuel line, and this will snap right in place right in here. But I'm just gonna hand tighten this for right now, and I need to keep this from falling out and falling back in that fuel tank. So I'm just gonna tie it with one of these ties right here. That'll hold it in place for me. All right, that's pretty much it. That's pretty simple right there. For the assembly, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, so remember, it's got to fit in that little bitty hole. So we gotta extend it out. We gotta extend it out pretty much in this position right here. And then we got to feed it through. Then I'm going to have to twist it so I can get this portion of the electronics to the float to clear. And it's probably going to be right around this area right here before we can bring it back in place. Because if not, if you try to go in straight like this, it will not go in. And I'll show you. So we got to extend this out. Got to get that in there. Get that float. Get that float in there. Okay, just like that. Okay, now if you notice, it's not going to go in like that. So what we got to do is we got to turn it this way. That'll allow this piece to clear. Once we get it, let's see if I can get this out of the way here. Now it's in, okay? It's not fully locked, but it's not fully extended. But now we just kind of drop it in. And that's the way it goes, pretty much. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to connect this to this piece right here. So I need to raise this up a bit right here. hold it in position right there. It's kind of wedged right here, so I'm just holding it in position. That way I can put this in place right here. So let me go get a clamp. And I believe this is the same 8mm. It's going to take the same 8mm, yes. So we'll take this off here. I just don't want this to fall back in on me, so I'm going to hold it right here. Just press that in there. And all I got to do is lock it in place. Squeeze that in. It's probably going to be impossible for you guys to see it, but I'm just crimping it on the edges right there. I'm just going to give it a squeeze. Okay, and there it is. All right. Next thing we need to do is we do need to replace this gasket. This is a one-time use gasket only. So this gasket needs to come off. All right, so this gasket needs to be replaced. And here's the replacement gasket. Let me see. There's the part number. You probably see it better right there. Part number is 61402-02 for the replacement gasket on this 03 Harley. And the orientation is that tab goes to the front right here. I'll wait it from there. Okay, and then that fuel pump sitting right. Trying to get it to sit right there. Okay, and that's where we're going to screw it down to, right there. Okay, so let me get those screws. And I'll show you. These screws also are a one-time replacement, a one-time use. So once you take them off, Harley recommends to replace them. And it is actually going to take 10 of these right here. What is the part number on this screw right here? So what is the part number on this screw is so 10200374. You can't see it here, but you can see it right here. So 74. And what do they look like? Just like that. Here are the screws we're going to put in. They're torqued at about 18. to 24-inch pounds, so I'm going to go about 20-inch pounds. And so what we got to do is we got to kind of hold this at a 90-degree as we start to thread these screws in. So I'll put one in here. Go to the next one. And the idea with putting in multiple screws is you never tighten one down. You just always thread them in by hand, because if you tighten one down, you'll never get the other ones lined up, or it'll be extremely difficult. This guy's way over here. Okay, there's really no set order that I could see in the book to tighten the sequence. So I'm just going to snug them down, and then I'm just going to do a crisscross pattern on them anyway. I don't think it's necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. I couldn't find anything in the service manual that says that it needs to go in a crisscross pattern. All it said was to, as you're putting them in, press down on this top plate assembly. And thread them in. Okay, so we're pretty snug just by hand right now. All right. Okay, so now I just got to torque them down. Just a little bit. Okay, they're still not torquing. I'm just gauging it with the pressure of the torque wrench. You can kind of feel that they're going down pretty evenly. All right, so I think that's good enough now to start torquing them. Okay, and that's it for that. Okay, and for the check valve, the torque value on this one was 22 to 26 foot-pounds. So for this one, I'm gonna go 24. Just gonna go right in between, 24 foot-pounds. Okay, that's set in place. Okay, so now we can hook this up. This is pretty simple setup. Just a matter of pulling down the sleeve here. Or pushing it up, sorry about that. Pushing up that sleeve. And that's locked in place. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so all I got to do is let me put that housing back on there and put some fuel in it, and then we'll get it started. But that's pretty much it. That's all it takes to put that assembly back together.